Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're looking at something incredibly powerful. We're exploring a brilliant concept drawn from Thomas Alethea's 12 Steps to a Good Life. Specifically, a practice that can fundamentally rewrite how we interact with information, with texts, and, honestly, with ourselves. Okay, let's dive into this. We are going to completely shift our relationship with the written word, moving away from that mindless consumption we all do and toward genuine life-altering wisdom.
So I want to ask you a question directly, and really think about it. When was the last time reading actually felt like a sacred encounter? Think about how we usually read nowadays. We're constantly scanning our screens, rapidly gathering data, or just mindlessly skimming articles to distract ourselves from our own restless minds, right? We treat reading like a purely utilitarian task. But what if reading wasn't just about downloading facts into your brain? What if it could be a profound, deeply personal experience?
You know, this famous quote by Henry David Thoreau, that the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation, it perfectly captures a core concept in our source material called the perennial struggle. Aletheia describes this as the deep, lifelong tension within every single one of us. It's the unmet needs, that vague existential emptiness, and the underlying anxiety that just kind of plagues modern life. It's that quiet, persistent ache that something is missing, which drives so much of our mindless consumption. We read, we scroll, we consume, all trying to fill a void that just won't close.
Section 1. The Paradigm Shift. To break this cycle, we need a completely new approach. Let's look at an ancient remedy designed to cure this very modern problem.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core of that solution, divine reading, or as it's traditionally known, Lectio Divina. Historically, this was an ancient contemplative practice reserved strictly for Scripture. But here, it's adapted for literally any meaningful or inspirational text. Divine reading treats the act of reading as a sacred encounter. It turns reading from a passive act of just, gathering data into an active inner conversation. You aren't just reading words anymore, you are truly engaging with them.
When we put the two side by side, the differences are absolutely stark. On the one hand, standard reading is fast, it's analytical, and it's completely brain-focused. You're hunting for information to use. But on the other hand, divine reading is slow, it's receptive, and it is entirely heart-focused. The goal here isn't to memorize facts or dissect arguments. The goal is to absorb wisdom and listen with the heart without overthinking it. It is a completely different posture of the mind.
Now, before we get into the exact steps, we need to clarify a term used in this practice: higher power. The source material is very clear that in this context, a higher power isn't tied to a specific religion or dogma. It's neutrally defined as simply something greater than your conscious self that cares about you. It's an open-ended concept, really, a caring presence that you invite into this reading practice to help you gain deeper, more profound insight than you ever could on your own.
Section 2. The Method. A practical guide. Here is exactly how to make divine reading a reality in your own life.
Here's the high-level roadmap condensed directly from the source. There are 5 core steps to this practice: prepare, read slowly, reflect, listen or pray, and finally, rest. Memorize this sequence. It gives you a structured way to approach any piece of wisdom and ensures you don't fall back into that old habit of fast, analytical reading. Let's break each of these down.
Step 1 is to prepare mentally and spiritually. Listen, you cannot rush into Divinitini reading straight from a stressful meeting or while you're half checking your phone. It just doesn't work. You need to clear the mental chaos. Center yourself through a moment of silence or maybe practice some deep breathing. You're actively setting a receptive mood and clearing a mental space before you even think about engaging with the text.
Step 2 is the actual reading, but you must read carefully and, most importantly, slowly. Let the words truly sink in. The source actually highly recommends reading the text aloud if you're by yourself. Why? Because reading slowly and out loud physically forces your brain to stop skimming. It breaks your normal reading rhythm and makes you truly encounter the words as they are spoken into the air.
Once you've read the passage, you move to step 3, reflect. You pause. You do not immediately jump to the next paragraph. Instead, ask yourself some specific questions. What is speaking to me right now? What in this text challenges me, or what comforts me? You're looking for the text's deeper, personal meaning. Essentially, you're allowing the text to read you rather than just you reading the text.
The final steps are to listen and rest. This is the moment to completely stop analyzing. Just turn the brain off for a second.
Offer a simple thought or prayer, asking that higher power to help you absorb the message. Listen with your heart. Let the words settle deeply into your soul, and simply rest in quiet awareness. There's literally nothing more to figure out here. You are just sitting with the wisdom you've encountered.
Section 3. Choosing your material. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that if you're going to slow down, the texts you select make all the difference in the world.
While Lectio Divina was traditionally reserved for religious scripture, the source material explicitly expands this. You can use any meaningful, philosophical, or secular wisdom text. The book provides a vast library called Wisdom, which includes daily readings from Leaves of Life, Zen koans, the teachings of Epictetus in the Enchiridion, Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, and the Buddha's Dhammapada. The whole point is to choose texts that carry a certain timeless gravity.
This quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson perfectly captures the spirit of choosing your material. Make your own Bible. Select and collect all the words that in all your readings have been to you like the blast of a trumpet. I absolutely love that. You are completely empowered to curate your own collection of meaningful texts. Find those passages that wake you up, that spark a real sense of transformation within you, and use those for your divine reading.
And what makes this practice so incredibly versatile is that it scales to your lifestyle. You can practice this alone, making it a flexible, highly intimate part of your daily morning routine. Or you can practice it in a group. In a group setting, members take turns reading aloud, sharing informal insights on what spoke to them, and experiencing collective wisdom. It works beautifully in both contexts.
Section 4. Transforming your daily life. So, the crucial point is figuring out the practical payoff of dedicating time to this ancient practice today. Why does this actually matter?
Well, the payoff is immense, and the barrier to entry is incredibly low. As the source states, just 5 minutes can center a day. This practice is so accessible. It doesn't take hours of meditation on a secluded mountaintop. Just 5 intentional minutes of divine reading can literally break the cycle of that perennial struggle we talked about earlier. It grounds you, it aligns you with your values, and it opens you up to guidance for whatever you are facing that day.
I want to leave you with a direct challenge to take immediate, practical action. The wisdom is out there, waiting to be encountered, not just skimmed over. So what text will you choose for your first divine reading session today? Will it be a piece of ancient philosophy, a line of poetry, or maybe just a favorite quote? Pick something that speaks to you, find 5 quiet minutes, and transform those words into wisdom. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and enjoy your reading.